Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Paul Hall, Chocolate Saying, Righteous Force, Bev Try Thinking, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning. Hello.
Hey.
Good morning. Let's crack on with housekeeping. Any signs of a physical Earth curve edge, formerly known as, quote, Earth curve?
Not from the Golden Gate Bridge.
And do you want me to start here, or do
Yes.
you want to get through the housekeeping first?
No, by all means, Bev. So I'll just give the audience a bit of an intro. So Bev and I have been discussing before we started recording about a presentation he wants to make. And Bev's in the unfortunate position where the fundy zealots who we deal with on a daily basis simply don't want to talk to him anymore because his worldview and his demolition of their worldview is cast iron and undebunkable. And as a result of that, you have liars and deceitful people who are essentially changing reality, not wanting to talk to him. So, yeah. Hi, Arwin, first of all.
Hello.
Do you want to give us a background to what's led to your tempered rage in this regard? Or who, or whatever you like, Bev. Go ahead. Mike's all yours.
There's no rage involved. I would like to thank people for this. But there came a point a bit ago where somebody made me question something I said. So I had to find a proof for it. Now, in my search for the proof, now what was questioned was my understanding of the word level. Now, I immediately said that level was horizontal off the top of my head because it was a natural understanding, but that when somebody made me question that, I had to find a proof that it was true. So that's where I've been on a search, let's say for over a year, just on how to prove that level is horizontal. It seems ridiculous because it's a known fact, but obviously there are people out there that believe it curves. I mean, it has to in their model. So I've finding some way of working out to how to prove it to myself. I've come up with a couple of ways. I mean, they're very simple, some of them, as you would expect, because it's a known fact. So yeah. Well, I guess that's basically is. It's just my journey to prove something. Now, along that journey, you also have to have an understanding of what a proof is, and I think that's where this sort of it triggers these people most, is the fact that you may have a proof that's stronger than their proof, or your understanding of proof ends up being questioned when you begin to question. I guess you're questioning yourself, and you're questioning your understanding of reality, because that's what this comes down to, really. Whether the question of is it a round or is it a flat, it's irrelevant, because we're all living in it. So it's you are questioning your reality, basically, and you come to conclusions, and then whatever conclusions you come to, they become your proofs. Now, if you want to think that they're strong proofs, then that's only you can question that, and that's where I've come to. So I've gone right back to proper basic stuff and started from what I understand from myself within this question, because when you start along this journey, it starts really strange. Is level horizontal? Well, yeah, but you end up questioning, is a straight line straight? What is a straight line to you? What does that mean? And I think that's where it is, the understanding of what you understand. It's a strange thing, which goes way beyond the subject matter, let's say. It's all about you. Yeah, the question was, is level horizontal? If level isn't horizontal, then what is it? And within that, let's say, I come to understand, if you want to work out what's level, you need a reference. Now, luckily, I've had a bit of experience within the building trade and surveying. So level is a distance from a datum. Now, that datum is a point, but it's a vertical rise to a different horizontal plane. That's what level is. It's the distance between certain things. Now, the most fundamental level that you ever have is water. Water level is your datum. So the water horizontal, because like that sounds simple. I mean, if that's your datum, if that's what level is, then level is horizontal. But I mean, how can level be horizontal? In the water level be horizontal if you live on a ball? Quite simple to me. Logic. You don't live on a ball.
Okay, so just repeat it. The simple premise that you're standing by, and the bastardization of that simple geometric premise, which is being punted by certain individuals who will hopefully come to shortly. Just repeat the main premise and who stands in opposition, or what they are in opposition to.
Well, the basic logical premise would be, if the Earth is a spherical object, then the surface of liquid water must curve. Very simple concept, a very simple idea, but the water level is known to be a horizontal plane datum. So yeah, that's the basic concept. It doesn't take you long to come to that, you know, in your questioning of yourself. Everyone must be the same. Everybody knows what water level is and sea level. That's your datum for surveying. So it's either horizontal or it's not.
Apparently, everybody's aware of that until for some reason you come into this argument, and then all of a sudden you realize that, well, that wouldn't make sense if we live on a ball, right?
Yeah. So rather than everybody just saying, yeah, I guess we don't live on a ball. No, they have to
Go the
I don't know.
complete opposite direction. Level is curved. Why not?
They got our level.
I'm glad you said that, Arwin. So I'll just get Bev back on track. So at some point in the mathematics, they have to hustle in an R value. So the example we discussed before the show started recording was the Aristophanes measurements, and they're smuggling in of a presupposition that you're on a curving surface. Now, for that presupposition to be smuggled in and accepted, you've got to be brainwashed from birth, essentially. And without, I don't want to steal your thunder because you repeated it back to me, so I know you're capable. I'll just stop and you can carry on from here if that's okay, Bev.
Yeah. What, you want me to go all the way back?
I think it's relevant to this subject, yeah.
Okay. Well, in finding out and researching and looking at this, you end up going within yourself, and you have to understand how you personally think about things. Because if you understand the water level is horizontal, then it's horizontal. It's very simple. And I was thinking, why am I different? So I went back, way back. Now, in my life, a fair few things has happened, as they do to everybody. But when I was about 6 or 7, I was in a car crash. Now, my mum died in that car crash. There was only me and her in it, in the car. Apparently, when they picked me up from the car, I was awake. So my memory has been wiped from an early age. But that may not seem apparent, but in a minute. When you're growing up, or when you are born, your brain goes through a few different stages, and up to the age of about 6, 7, 8, your brain is within I don't know, is it called gamma or whatever, but it's a hypnotic state where you take on information without question. It's just poured into you. It's meant to be, it must be a sort of a boost, because your parents need to get you going, and they need to get you on track with certain things. So that's where you should have the thing. But the globe model is taught from ages, key stage 1 and 2. So the model is implanted, and it's only taught at those early ages. After that, it's not really taught. It's sort of just talked about. So what was different about me is that I've lost that model that has been implanted into my brain. So when I say that level is horizontal and it sticks, it makes it's simple for me, because I don't have the model that's implanted in my brain. Now, most people, I would say, have that teaching that's gone in there. So even you listen, the fact now that you know level to be horizontal, but there's something within your brain that's telling you it can't be that simple. Can't be. But it is. It must be. If you follow the logical process, the water level, if it's not horizontal, what is it? What could it possibly be? And if it is a curve, then think about this logically. How does that curve work? Because water can't do that logically or anything. So I've developed a test. Sorry, go on. Anyone want to?
No, I was gonna ask, did you ever try to just walk up to somebody like in the street randomly and ask them this question? Because
Yeah.
I feel like in the context of this conversation, like, yeah, that might be a problem. But if you just walk up to normal Joe Smith on the street and ask him, is level curved? He'd probably just look at you like you had 3 heads, right?
Yeah,
Until you put it in the context of this, all of a sudden that cannot make sense.
Yeah, I've developed. Tony said I should develop some questions, so I did. I've developed about 8 sort of questions, or that you can be took as statements of fact or whatever, you know, that you can lay out, and you can ask anybody these questions, and you'll end up with answers. And then at the end of these questions, you can remind them that they live on a globe. They think they live on a globe, and then go back and redo this same set of questions. And somewhere along the line, they will have to mentally bend one of those lines. It's crazy when it happens. You can watch people do it. I mean, people won't talk to me. None of the ballers are willing to come and talk to me about this.
So who specifically?
Who?
Well, you said when we discussed it earlier, you were saying there's certain people who are punting the idea that's in complete and in total opposition to basic Euclidean geometry and the principles and axioms that it's based on. And I want you to name names. Who is it that you're talking about?
You've got the big surveyor Jesse Kozlowski has said he has measured 8 inches per mile squared. The main surveyor. He's got videos out there saying that he has measured vertical plumb lines are not parallel. You've got Aaron Burrell. That's he measures curvature of the water level daily. They have to, you know, like they have surveyors out there that they call geodetic surveyors that have to be able to measure curvature of the water level. They must. It's within their model. The water level must curve, but they also have this rule that locally it's horizontal. So it's a mind game that they're playing within themselves also. They're tricking themselves at the same time.
How many locally horizontal planes does it take to make a ball?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so just for the purposes of anybody who wants to go out and poke the bear in their comment sections, I'm not subscribed to any of these people, so unfortunately it won't be me, but maybe members of my audience. So we're talking Jesse Kozlowski. Who's the last guy? Sorry,
the main surveyor, Aaron Burrell.
Aaron Burrell. Any more?
George. I'd have a word with George. He's a surveyor. Supposedly, Sean G is a surveyor. Did you know?
Really? Okay, fine. So George Netanyahu, Sean G. Anybody else?
I will talk to anyone about this test, right? Because I think I have a water. It's all it is just a few hose pipes.
Okay, just talk us through your test then. Start from the start and end at the end and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, have you got them pictures? You know, because basically you have to understand what a water level is. The tool, the basic water level tool.
Okay. Do you know how to share your screen so you can present these pictures? Before we get into it, let's get this.
I got them through there.
So on your Hangouts page, top right hand corner, 3 dots. When you move the mouse over the page.
Google Hangouts. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm all over the place here. The 3 dots.
So okay, I'll hum some elevator music. You getting on okay? You figured it out?
Yeah, I pressed it, didn't I? But I don't know. It doesn't seem to be doing.
Okay, let's try it a different way. If you share, can you share them in Skype, and then I'll get one of the other members of the panel hopefully to present them for you.
I put them in Skype, didn't I?
You put them in Master B.
Master
Okay,
B.
perfect.
Yeah.
Can somebody pop into Master B and just bring up the pictures from Bev, please? I can see them.
I'm going to have to get a bit better with this
That's
sharing
okay.
screens.
There's no stress. It's all good. Anybody on the panel winning? Anybody at all?
I'm trying, Nathan. Hang on a second. I'm trying to get to it. I'm back.
Okay. Oh, somebody's on it, it looks like.
Yeah.
Righteous is on it. Thank you, Righteous.
Doing some videos and stuff to try and explain it a bit more. But basically, a water level is just a long hose pipe or something like that, as long as you can make it, and you just fill it up with water. And the level at each end of that pipe will be level. It will be considered a horizontal plane between the two. Well, just the water level. It's that, that's how it works. And so the question to the surveyors and all of that has always been how long can you make a water level piece of hose pipe? How long can you make that before it stops being a horizontal plane between it? So that's the question. So
Okay, hold on. Let's poke the bear again. So before you go on, you said there was somebody who specifically said that they'd measured 2 vertical plumb bobs as not being perpendicular. Who was that?
That was the main surveyor, but that's the wrong way. This you can't be doing. Well, I suppose proving that the water level is a horizontal would disprove non-perpendicular verticals to
there we go. There's a question. What's that called? Non-perpendicular geometry. What's it called? What are they doing?
Oh, I haven't got a clue what that is. That isn't even any geometry. They're just bending plumb lines. They're just. I don't know. I honestly don't even know what that is, even geometrically.
Sure. I mean,
they're just
mathematically
extending a radius. Really.
Exactly. They're extending a radius precisely. But on paper, mathematically, that's what they're doing. They're smuggling R when they stick their sticks in the ground, right? And they just presuppose that the distance between them is bent. But when you actually claim something that violates geometry in terms of what you've got on screen now is something that's demonstratable and bloody obvious, if you ask me, but it's not obvious to people, and that's why you've got the mic currently, because obviously at some stage what you're demonstrating and what is a rule that's utilized to build things is being violated by these small handful of individuals on the globe side, and they're utilizing our base level programming when it comes to an assumption that we are on a sphere because we've been told at birth. So when they not only smuggle in R mathematically to extend out a radius, but they literally declare that what you're prepared to show and can be tested is actually not occurring, which would be to say that these lines are no longer presenting as level. The one at each end would actually show that you've got extended radius, pointing out in different directions.
Could I say something very quick on that about what they're doing?
Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll get back to Bevan's presentation. He's not quite done.
Yeah, very quickly. What they're doing is they're trying to claim a different direction of down, something that Adam Meakin disproved with an accelerometer on a plane. That's what they're trying to do by changing by saying that plumb bobs are of 2 different distances apart. Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, do you want to carry on, Bev?
Yeah. Well, the whole idea was just to work out whether level is horizontal. I mean, that was it. I wasn't going at this to prove the shape of anything or to prove anything else other than level being horizontal. That was it. Level is a straight line on a horizontal plane. Original claim, it's been my only claim, and my only proof is for that purpose. Now, what that comes along with, fantastic, but basically just back to the claim of the water level test. So if you have a hose pipe, let's call it 2 miles long because it makes the mathematics easier for them. So you've got one length of hose pipe that's 2 miles long, and you fill it up with water, and it has a water level in it, either end. Now, the question is, what happens to the bit in the middle? That in order to prove horizontal, a straight line, you have to show what happens in the center of that water. That's it. I mean, can I get you a... Yeah? Is that all right?
You talking to us or someone off camera?
Yeah, I'm talking. I just need a confirmation that that's all we're trying to do. Is we've got our initial baseline of 2 miles long hose pipe, says it's a water level. Now, in order to prove horizontal, which is a straight line, you've just got to prove that the center of that particular water is no higher or lower. True?
Yes, absolutely.
So this is where my test comes in. What you do is you get two smaller, completely independent water levels that are 1 mile long. So they go from the outside into the middle. And then you put a T-junction on the initial one in the middle as well. So you've got two reference points from the outside to the middle, and another reference points there in the middle that are completely different, but also level. And I say that would prove shape or whatever, Now, it may show that there is a big bulge in the middle. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these people claim it would. So if they say it would, so the test is just that. It's a test to prove one or the other. I don't know what it'd do. Well, I do, because it's water level and it's horizontal. And it can't be anything else geometrically.
Well, yes, I was going to say, given that you're doing this, you've got the word water level. Are you saying this would be done alongside water or in water? Because presumably the water itself would demonstrate this, right? If you did it on a canal.
Well, that's initially what the very, very start of this. We went with my son beginning of last year. We bought a P1000 and we went to do the Bedford level test. So we were there with Roxanne and John of the Didsburys, and we Dr. John D. We were all there doing the Bedford level test, and my lad's got his brand new camera. He's in the dinghy, and they're zooming it out, and they're watching the guy disappear into the refraction, and it's fantastic to look at it. But as I'm sat there, I'm thinking, what are we doing? Like, why can't they see that the water level is level? What are they doing? Because I'm sat in the dinghy thinking, well, if I get a surveying pole and we sort of measure the height and we just work alongside the canal, and then we go back down and we measure it back, and it's going to be level. So this developed from there. This idea in my head that what are people doing? You can shine lasers and all of that. You can do whatever you want. You can look over it and all of that. But that all you have to do is prove that the water level is horizontal. Surely. Any other sort of test or whatever with you can look down it and you can't see things and all of that. Well, water level doesn't need a line of sight. One of the best tools, that's one of its best purposes. You can use it on building sites and go round corners where you don't have to see the initial other side. Once you know it's level, then both ends will be the same level, horizontal, plane.
Gotcha. But given that even in the geodesic surveys outlook of things, they're saying that in a local area, and this accounts for why it's useful for building, you are dealing with level, but over a vast distance you're not. And you're saying by extending out this principle and showing that individually on your two separate U shapes, they're showing level. So obviously this section is level as agreed on by the geodesic surveyors, And this second section is also level. And then you've got a reference between the two with the T section that's running the full length. You're confirming that both locally and overall, water is level.
Meaning horizontal, because that you have to tag that on now, because there's people out there that think level curves, right?
Gotcha.
So now you have to add an extra tag on the end of it, and you may even have to add tag on straight, and then have to define straight for them as being free from curvature.
Okay,
because
but we're only having to do this because of the presupposition that's brainwashed into us, because these principles are set in stone and factual and useful and used, but the fact that we have to argue about them is merely down to brainwashing. It's not down to any principle that's actually ever been violated, and there are people out there claiming that they can violate.
You're only arguing against the model in somebody's head. You're not arguing against reality or anything. It's, that's plain and simple truth of it is, you're arguing against somebody's imagination of what must happen.
Must happen on their model, which they think they're standing on.
Sorry,
Okay.
but people, most people are, and even most flat earthers that are thinking,
So correct me if I'm wrong. Is Sliced Arcane not doing something not too dissimilar to this?
Well, Sliced Arcane did one a year ago, I think, or a bit of time, and I personally think that was designed to fail, because too much pressure and too many joints and all of that, just whatever. But he's supposedly refined it and redoing it. He's put a video out of how he was redoing his test, and he seems to be using a series of small water levels in the U shape, and all linking them all together somehow. I mean, he's talked to me on Twitter at least and said that his water level test will prove curvature, but he won't come and discuss the different water level test.
So, designed to fail in terms of its physical makeup, its practical application. How do you mean?
The first one he did with hard pipes and like a bathroom hard pipe type thing. But as you know, like when you do that and you have a head of pressure on water, all you need is to put 1 meter, 2 meters, loose cracks at the bottom, then water will leak out, and so that it leaked, and it was inconclusive, his first one. But his second test is different. But I mean, again, his video doesn't really say much, and he can't really, he won't come and talk to me about how his test works and the difference between his and my test and how they would work or whatever. I mean, I would really love to talk to anyone about this test, because I think, quite rightly, it goes to prove that the water level's horizontal. But like you say, that's known. I mean, the one of the things that happens, like strange coincidences, that I live in Lancashire, and there's a Leeds to Liverpool canal that goes from Liverpool docks down at Vauxhall all the way through the South Lancashire coastal plain to Apley Bridge. That's 27 miles meandering or whatever, going past Mills. It goes past Liverpool Racecourse, Canal Turn, Aintree. That's the canal that goes. So there is a 27-mile stretch of water, 15-mile as the crow flies, of canal in where I live, that when no locks.
No locks?
Free from
None?
locks. 15 miles.
I was going to ask, that was going to be my question. 0 locks. So it's flat. So they've engineered it to be completely and totally flat the entire way. That's 17 miles as the crow flies. I did not know that.
Yeah, so 15 miles. Well, it must be, mustn't it? I mean, that when they filled it up with water, they must have made it horizontal to know that the water level would have been one bit. I mean, you also know that on a canal, the locks are a transfer system of the water level because you need to go up in height. So you need a lock system to do that. Now that works water pressure and equalization of the water level. That's how you transfer boats from one level to another. But every one of the water levels in a canal, they're all horizontal planes. There's no curvature. If there were curvature, you wouldn't need locks. You'd just dig it a bit round a bit more and you'd be able to get over the curve, wouldn't you?
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense logically.
Okay. So do you want to give us a summary of what you've just said? So you introduced it, you've gone through it in detail now. If you can summarize it and hopefully poke the bear a little bit more.
Well, but simple, very simple logical argument. If the Earth that you think you live on is a spherical object, E, then the surface of the liquid water on that must curve. Must. So that would mean water level must curve. Now, ask yourself, if water level isn't horizontal, how do you define it? And if it's a curve, you must know how to define a curve. Sure. Rate of drop from a horizontal reference frame. If you're measuring it from the outside, you would need a tangent and a drop. Probably you'd need a perpendicular from the tangent to get a dimension. I only know how to use Euclidean geometry to measure things. And Euclidean geometry is the geometry of reality. You geometry to measure the world. Even the we call them geodesic surveyors. I don't think they're a thing, Nathan. They're a plane surveyors. No, they use levels. Those levels are horizontal. So plane surveyors are the ones that you see all the time. If they're using a tool, then that's a plane surveyor, not a geodesic surveyor.
Okay, and the geodesic surveying process is what is essentially going to give you an end result of what's on screen now. The curve calculator.
Oh, I'd never use that. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
No, but when you described what it gives you in terms of drop, in terms of having a sagittor, in terms of assuming that a level surface is actually curved, that's the end result, correct?
Yeah. Because don't forget, at one end of the water level is the one that you're holding, and the other end must be below you in order to, right?
It must be below you in order to
be level on their model. If you're always at the top, it's like a water level is so scary for them because they imagine, this is why they always go to a spirit level, because they can imagine the center point and it being a tangent, right? Can imagine it being on a curve and balancing to be horizontal on the top of the curve. But a water level doesn't work like that. It has two external points, right? So it becomes really awkward because in there, if you take this as their model, then one end has to be lower order to be level, but then everybody knows that all the water would pour out. So they have to then adopt a mental level. But then, in doing that, they have to imagine that the point in the middle actually gets higher. It's a crazy mind trick when you think about it, logically. It'll take you on a ride, and I think that's where these people struggle. The model just doesn't fit.
And the only way they get away with it is by brainwashing you into the natural progression into presupposition. In other words, well, we already know it's a sphere. Therefore, this is acceptable to presuppose that the water, which is actually level, must curve. And then, like you say, you go on a merry dance of trying to square a circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then to quote a certain, what do you call it, scientist, quote unquote, who's an expert in exoplanets, well, then the model's wrong.
Mm.
There you go.
Mm. It's simple.
Because she could just declare it just like that. Well, the model's wrong. So why can't these guys who are defending this very model?
It leads you to question your sanity after a while, because literally I've had people telling me I'm wrong for a year. Don't be stupid. Of course it curves. Some guy wrote it down that it curves. It must curve. There's a ball. I mean, I've talked to my dad.
It must curve because I am under the presupposition that we are on a sphere, that the model is the reality I'm standing on. Therefore, quote, it must curve. Well, it doesn't.
Oh, it can't, but it must.
But it must.
Yeah. Yeah,
Excellent.
I had a conversation with my dad, who's 75, and he will agree with me every step of the way. Yeah, level's horizontal and canal must be horizontal. Yeah, it's the water level's horizontal. Of course it is. But it must curve still, because we live on a ball.
No, it's not.
It's so ingrained in people's brains that they can't have this. Cognitive dissonance has been taught. You've been taught to accept it without even knowing.
And you've also been given permission, right? Because you don't necessarily have to work at the really is level. So you can just mix and match reality however you want, right? To make it fit your model. Isn't that great?
But it happens as well. That's what they do. And they can't admit it. Like, is there any ballers here who really wanting to tell us your understanding of the word level?
Feel free. Anybody in Discord?
Yes, where is the proof that the level is horizontal? Horizontal.
Sorry?
Where do we see it?
Sorry?
Can you repeat yourself, please?
I didn't hear that.
Maybe someone else? Anybody?
He said, where's the proof that level is horizontal is what I got.
Water.
Yeah, I said that.
Water used in construction to make sure things are level.
Where's your
The
proof that
level
level
is
is
water.
curved?
Go ahead, Chocolate, can you repeat that?
Where is your proof that level is curved?
No. You just ask him. We need to know the number. Like, at what rate does it curve? I mean, just saying it curves is meaningless. It means nothing.
Well, I mean, even a definition, level, a horizontal plane or line with respect to it isn't above or below a given
I've been told
point.
that is for the stupid people. Only because you're not clever enough.
Right, fair enough. Any more?
buddy.
I think that quotation you had, Bev, about the time and geodetics. It was on your screen, but I don't think you read it, or was that one? Your most recent find?
Oh yeah. Well, in this search, you come to understand that these people, they must have a curved straight line, right? So you go to find out where they get this from, and it takes you into strange places, into special relativity, and what was it? World lines I was talking about, that in a way to understand the fourth dimension, they make a 2D graph with the X and Y axis and put time on one and matter on the other and whatever. And they make a line right now. They call that line a world line. And then I found a clip and I gave it to 10th. I don't know where it is. Have you got it there, 10th? Or, but if you
Let me post it. Let me find it and post it.
If you look up world lines within this strange Romanian geometry that they've had to make, it does actually say that these world lines are called geodesics. Right? So again, they have an ability to be able to say truthful things, but them to not really make any sense once you actually look at them. So the geodesic is a concept of a strangely imagined geometry. Sorry, I've got a phone call.
Oh, good. It's been covered well. Thank you very much, Bev. Hopefully you'll come back and chat a bit more about it once your phone call's over. But yeah, brilliant.
Nathan,
Excellent
the
presentation.
article's there. You may want to look at it.
Where is it?
Master B. World lines in special relativity. It's pretty interesting.
Did Homeboy ever come back with his level is curved proof? Or what? You still waiting on that?
Yeah, I think.
I like the adjective definition of it: having a flat and even surface without slopes or bumps.
There's that word flat again. It's weird.
And without slopes. So there goes having a curve in a level.
Funny how that works, huh?
Okay, 10th. I've got it up on screen. Is there any chance you can read it?
Yeah. So far, it's called World Lines in Special Relativity. So far, a world line and the concept of tangent vectors in parentheses has been described without means of quantifying the interval between events. The basic mathematics is the theory of special relativity puts some constraints on possible world lines. In special relativity, the description of spacetime is limited to special coordinate systems that do not accelerate and so do not rotate either, in parentheses, called initial coordinate systems. In such coordinate systems, the speed of light is a constant. The structure of spacetime is determined by bilinear form, which gives a real number for each pair of events. The bilinear form is sometimes called a spacetime metric, but since distinct events sometimes result in a zero value, unlike metrics in metric spaces of mathematics, the bilinear form is not a mathematical metric on spacetime. Last paragraph. World lines of freely falling particles / objects are called geodesics. In special relativity, these are straight lines in Minkowski space. Often, the time units are chosen such that the speed of light is represented by lines at a fixed angle, usually 45 degrees, forming a cone with the vertical time axis. In general, useful curves in spacetime can be of three types. The other types would be a partly one, a partly another type. What did he just say?
He's describing
This is not reality.
He's describing the
This is not
fundamentalist doublespeak of space-time and geodesics.
Yeah. Non-reality. Can't get a sextant to work on a curve. Sorry, boys. You need a horizontal horizon.
Sorry.
You back, Bev?
Yeah, I would say, and I'd be quite willing to make the claim that your whole understanding of the word horizontal and how you balance and all of that, you know, the whole what everybody understands of it, it's a straight line, and you know that because of what the water level is. That's the water level, rather than the water level being horizontal. I would say the water level defines horizontal as a thing. Like just as a plumb bob defines vertical. So you've got two different things there, two totally independent things that are known geometrically as being. Now, the very definition of a perpendicular is two straight lines meeting at 90 degrees. So, yeah, horizontal and vertical perpendiculars. You don't really need much more than that. Everybody knows that. Surely everybody thinks like that mentally as well.
Right, but they're working outside of Euclidean and working inside of their newly utilised pseudo-Ramonian four-space conceptual medium, giving them geodesics, bending straight lines. Well, we're working
imaginary.
Imaginary, working within conceptual mediums, what you imagine the world to be. And that's where the early programming of, well, of course it's a sphere, just understand that it is, works beautifully, because you end up with that resulting in a statement like, yeah, I understand that canal's flat, but it must be curved. And then when you go to look into it, you'll get a doublespeak explanation about geodesics within pseudo, not real, sham, Ramonian four-space. So there's an explanation given to you. It's not overtly declared as being fictitious, but the title is pseudo. And that is where you get your end result, which you described so eloquently earlier, cognitive dissonance, which is perfectly well permitted within this religious worldview of a sphere. Just going to do a couple of quick shout-outs, if that's good by you, Bev. Something pertinent before I do, because it breaks the flow slightly if I do super chat shout-outs. I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so shout-out to Unitox Femu, who says, it's easier to see shoe than curvature. And also a shout-out to Henrik, who just flat-out gives me money. Thank you very much indeed, both of you, for the super chats. Really appreciate the support. Well, I'll say a thank you now, Bev. Excellent, excellent presentation, and I think you've poked a few bears, you've made your point clear. It requires a lot of explanation, even though it's actually really simple. Shouldn't require any explanation, but there's obviously a disconnect in the people we're dealing with, and the general public, most of the Western world, because of their early programming, to reject the ideas that are holding true and making their buildings stay up straight. So there we go. Thank you very much, Bev.
Okay. Thank you.
Got 6 minutes left on the live show. Is it worth rattling through the rest of the housekeeping questions?
Or is it worth asking the guy that spoke up before about his is there proof that level is horizontal? I mean, does he have proof of something to counter that?
Chicky, do you have any evidence that straight horizontal is actually curved?
Posted the video. You can look at it.
Can you tell us what's in the video? Obviously, I'm not just going to play someone else's video on my live show. Can you tell us what it contains and how it proves level is not horizontal?
It's horizontal. It shows the difference between horizontal and level.
No, we don't. We're not looking for the differences. We're looking for how they're the same. That's your model. Your model says that they're the same.
My model?
Yeah, the heliocentric sphere Earth model with a presupposed R value, recently debunked by the Black Swan. That model claims that level is curved. Horizontal's not straight.
Level is curved. Yes.
No. We're asking you to prove that rather than just declare yes and give us your religious belief that that is actually the case. We're asking you to give us a demonstration.
It gives a demonstration. It makes a horizontal.
It makes a horizon what? A not actual location do something. Who cares? It's not a physical location. It's not a geometric sphere edge. So who cares? It's not an actual location, mate. The horizon, who cares? We debunked the horizon as being a physical geometric sphere edge with something called the Black Swan. We don't see the geometric horizon. No, ringing any bells?
He's not looking at horizon.
Now you're cutting out. We're not getting a clear, concise demonstration of how level, horizontal, is actually curved.
Of course, if you don't look, you will know.
So the video he posted, it says, "Does the horizon always stay at eye level?"
Sorry, what does this have to do with demonstrating that horizontal is actually curved? I'm not following. Nobody's explaining it to me. I don't get it. If it's utilising the horizon, that's not a geometric sphere edge. We've debunked that. So it's not useful for this.
Bro, are you following the conversation? We want to know how level is curved, not does the horizon appear at eye level. So how is level curved? Over.
Well, as levels would be, if your eyes were above the level of the water, then to curve up to the eye level, do you? Is that the claim that he's saying that he's not seeing? I don't know.
We don't know.
What's his claim by that?
Yeah, we don't know yet. Good
I'll
point.
summarize it. I can summarize it quick.
Go ahead.
Basically, the whole horizon drop thing means the Earth must be curving away from us. But he doesn't know that the horizon curve can appear closer. And if it can appear closer, it can also can appear lower.
I see.
So he doesn't understand that part.
Can you just confirm that's the case, Chicky? Are you claiming horizon drop?
Yeah, of course it drops.
So you are that you're using Al-Biruni and his claimed measurements to acquire the R value by utilising a physical geometric sphere edge horizon and how much that physical geometric sphere edge horizon drops, and measuring it out based on its presupposition of being physical and geometric. No, I'll just use your side's defence to our debunking of the geometric horizon, which is to say, we do not see a geometric horizon. So this horizon nonsense with its dip that Al-Biruni utilised, yeah, that's gone completely. If you don't see a geometric horizon, it's always refracted, definitely refracted from up high, obviously going through all those different gradients that you're always banging on about. You're not seeing a physical geometric sphere edge horizon to measure a drop or dip from, because we do not see the geometric horizon. Right, guys?
Can I just give you a reality geometric view on this?
Go on.
Because again, this is sound really strange coming from my point of view. It's like if your feet are on a level, then your eyes are on a different level. So what are you measuring? You're measuring the difference between your eye level and the ground level. Like, nobody says that has to curve, does it? It's just lower. Yeah, it's going to be lower. The higher you go up, the more difference there will be between that level that you were on and the level you are now on. there's a drop. I mean, what's like, why is anybody assuming a curve? Like the drop would be there in reality, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. But the assumption of that horizon dip being physical geometric sphere edge is where they can then draw a line to it and use very basic simple maths to extract out an R value and then declare from then on that the physical geometric sphere edge is what they're dealing with. Fortunately, as I say, we've debunked that with the black swan. So there's never ever going to be an assertion that you're measuring something physical that was formerly the geometric sphere edge horizon. It isn't. I'll say it a third time. We do not see the geometric horizon. No one's ever claimed we do. It's just a thought experiment. And with that, I'll say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making the live show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the live audience for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!